Listen to his interviews, and you study these guys, and you see where their mindset is and where their holes are going to be. It's like they had asked him, who do you want to? They asked Shawn O'Malley, who do you want to fight next? And he's like, I just want to fight. I just want to fight the best strikers. Like, he never mentioned about I'll take anybody out. I'll take anybody in the top 10 or 15 or whatever. Because in my opinion, he hasn't really beat somebody that's like, okay, man, you're the real deal. Even though he did beat Weiland, he was a contender, but it's been a long time. And
he's a young kid that's learning the sport while we're watching him on the UFC. That's what's crazy about him. I mean, you go back to Dana White's Contender show, and he was looser, wilder, fun to watch, but not nearly as sharp. Now he's on a completely different level. Knocking out Wineland like that, faking the uppercut, and then just following over the top with a straight right hand and catching him slipping. I mean, that was fantastic.
But that's the point that I'm trying to get to is it's a striking game for him right now. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, dude, there is a whole nother aspect, and that's called wrestling and jiu-jitsu. And from what I've heard, he has developed pretty good jiu-jitsu, but there's that other art that I want to see when you really get tested, you're taking it to deep waters, then I'll see your real colors. Then I'll be like, okay, man, you are ready to take on anybody in the top five.
Well, I think most people will agree that Sugar Shawn O'Malley is the biggest star in the UFC bantamweight division. And yes, Aljamain Sterling is the champion, and I'm sure he would take exception to that statement. But when we're talking about star power, a guy that sells tickets, puts bums in seats, and sells pay-per-view, Sugar Shawn O'Malley, in my opinion, and I don't know any of this off data, this is just star appeal, fan appeal, and what I see from the fans and the reaction that O'Malley gets wherever he goes. So in my opinion, and I think I'm probably right in saying this, and I think most of you would agree, Sugar Shawn O'Malley is the number one guy, the number one seller, number one pay-per-view draw in the bantamweight division. Now granted, he's not the champ, but last time he went out there and he beat a former champ. He beat Petr Yan in a back and forth war, a great fight, everybody enjoyed it, everyone was on the edge of their seat, but not everybody agreed that Sugar Shawn O'Malley won. And that's okay. It was a close fight. It could have gone either way, and the reality is, he did win. Okay? He won the fight, simple as that. That's in the history books. Now we know the champ Aljamain Sterling came out and said, listen, I don't want to fight until June next year. Which kind of, had people calling for an interim title fight and things like that. But that doesn't matter, because Sugar Shawn O'Malley has come out the woodwork and he has said, I know my next fight. I know my next fight will be fighting for the belt, and he doesn't want to fight until July next year either. So if that is true, and listen, who knows, maybe O'Malley's just speaking some hype, maybe he's talking out of school, maybe he's talking out of his goddamn ass, we don't know.
Aljamain Sterling retains his championship, and he moves on and calls out Henry Cejudo for his next title fight. But as much as he may want to fight Cejudo, the next challenger may be right in front of him tonight in Sugar Shawn O'Malley, because a lot of people are going to have a lot to say about Shawn O'Malley and him not winning the fight. And if I got to tell you, I thought Petr Yan had won that fight. I thought Petr Yan won round 1. Round 2, I thought he won clearly. But round 1 was up for debate. Round 3 was a very competitive round. So I can see how Shawn O'Malley won. But if I was judging, I thought Petr Yan had done enough to win that round. The takedowns in round 1, I thought squeaked that one out for him. Round 2, he hurt Shawn O'Malley really, really bad, even though he was hurt himself. And then in round 3, he landed some beautiful counter strikes, even though O'Malley landed some good damage himself. We have never seen anyone do to Petr Yan and put that type of damage on him like we saw Shawn O'Malley put on Petr Yan tonight. Shawn O'Malley belongs at the top of this division, and he showed that in winning the fight. Because it don't matter what you feel. It don't matter what you think. He got the decision. And the only way to get a decision like that is to put yourself in the fight, to be competitive. And Shawn O'Malley was competitive against Petr Yan. Yan, for himself, showed a great version. He did exactly what we expected him to do. And I had a lot of people texting me right after the fight saying the fight was judged on the fact that they didn't expect Shawn to do as well as he did, so they were giving him points for just being in there. I disagree. I think he was getting points for doling out damage. We have never seen Petr Yan beat up the way he was beat up. in terms of the damage. Again, won the fight, Shawn O'Malley gets his hand raised and proved that he is much more than just height.
As far as like an athlete and talent goes, kid has it, man. He's got good timing, great distance, good speed, and he's huge for the weight class. I remember when I first saw him, I was like, there's no way this guy's making 35. He makes it easy from what I hear. I did see him when he fought Chito Vera, which is another guy that I love a lot, a good friend of mine. He got hurt, and then he couldn't continue, right? So going forth, is he like a little fragile or something? Not like mentally maybe, but like physically, is he like not as sturdy as everybody else? That's something that you have to like, you gotta wonder, right?